Hello everyone, this is Anil Kumar. So we have seen in the last video, we have seen all the kind of AOP features. Let's discuss about the kind of what are the different cross-cutting concerns. We have logging, transaction, profile, security. All these things are kind of non-functional requirements, but which are kind of like a must for a kind of enterprise level application. But those are not called as a kind of functional requirements. These are non-functional, but logging, security, all these exception handling are needed. The AOP would actually tell like how to drive these non-functional without disturbing the functional programming. We need to AOP tells guides us, gives us a framework like the aspect oriented programming, where it would separately be maintained but in an effective manner. So how does it actually been implemented? So there are AOP concepts like the kind of terminologies that we need to be familiar on the AOP world. Yes, these are kind of new terminology, but we need to habituate. I will try to explain the very frequently used terminology. Aspect, okay, advise, we have point, cut, join point. What are these actually? What is this purpose? Why these are actually needed? You can correlate aspect is a kind of class. Okay, it is a very much similar to a class to a, in the normal Java world. In the aspect, we will all declare all the advices like the methods. Okay, advice is nothing but a kind of method where you would configure what is the kind of like pattern you need to apply to specific kind of concern you want to implement. Suppose you want to implement a logging concern, you need to have a kind of one method where all it needs to be applied, and the point cut is the one which defines the pattern. Okay, how do you need to execute that particular logging concern? Okay, in what are the kind of methods? Okay, and how to actually do the configuration using the join points. So these are all kind of like a typical configurations that we need to make, and in a systematic way in the AOP world. But if you see on some example, then only you can able to understand very clearly. On a nutshell, I can tell you like these are the four main components that we will use in the AOP to externalize the kind of non-functional requirements from the business logic. So it's nothing but a kind of like you will have a some separate class. Okay, that is a separate aspect. Means like the separate aspect you need to define for suppose a kind of logging concern, and you need to have some methods which needs to be defined like advices to implement that logging separately, externalization of like AOP. And you have some pattern, right, how to execute it. Those would define the point, cut, and join points. So we will see like the correlation between AOP and OOPS concept, so that you can able to understand. So I'm just defining the similarities. Aspects, what I tell you, it is a class. Okay, where you have all the kind of like different methods you will execute. Point cut is a kind of like method signature. Okay, where you would define the kind of like methods. Advise is nothing but a kind of method body. Okay, where you will define all the method body, and those logging or cross-cutting concern to be implemented. And wherever it's a kind of like back-end compiler related kind of code, where it would define it would actually orchestrate all these aspect, point, content, join advices internally. So this is a kind of like high level aspects that we will create. So probably the theoretical part, probably you may seems to be kind of confusing on the AOP side. But when you comes to a kind of demonstration, I will implement one logging aspect, and we will see one exception handling aspect as well. where you will actually get the concept, okay, very clearly. And on the definitions wise, if you see, advice actually defines what needs to be applied and when. It's a kind of a method, okay, how to actually need to be applied, where it needs to be applied. Joint point is the where, okay. The advice is a kind of when it has to execute, okay. So it is a kind of like a, you can call it regular expression pattern, okay, right, where you will define the execution points. So point cut is a combination of a kind of different joint points where the particular advice, like that particular method to be applied. Aspect, it's a combining all these kind of things in a one particular entity. So like that, it's like a concern related. We can have a logging aspect, okay. We can have a exception aspect, okay, like that. We can differentiate. So let's deep dive into the kind of like programmatic explanation, so that you will get the flavor of AOP. Okay, we will define first one logging aspect. Very very simple way of implementing the AOP. I will try to explain it. Probably I'm not demonstrating like a extensive way of implementation of AOP, because it would be too confusing for you. Probably I will just give you a kind of like a very brief example, very simple way to explain the AOP with a logging advice. Okay, thanks for watching this video. Please click on the like button and do subscribe to my channel for further videos. Okay, thank you, thanks a lot.